Now the senior women's race, 6,350 metres, one big loop and two small loops as shown on the diagram. This, I think, will be a more competitive race. There are certainly prospective champions from a number of countries, including, of course, the Kenyans who we saw then. Lynn Jennings, the winner for the last 3 years, though she had a recent appendicitis operation, and that certainly cost her some training time, although she did come back to win the bronze medal at the World Indoor Championships. The Australian team there, the Dutch. An interesting race to look forward to. There is the standings in the World Cross Challenge Series. Catherina McKiernan of Ireland leading from Albertina Dias and Esther Kiplagat of Kenya. Kiplagat, one of that talented group of Kenyans there.
So the athletes waiting for the starter's gun. 6.5 kilometres again on the short side for women. There's some talk of increasing the cross-country distances for top women athletes to around 10k, something more similar to the men's distance. This is very, very short for many of these women who may have done marathons. Indeed, Liz McColgan of Britain is training for the London Marathon, is in there hoping to get amongst the individual medals. So the start inevitably very fast yet again.
And already we see the Kenyans prominent, and also on the left of the picture there is Zola Pieterse of South Africa, who as Zola Bud won this title back in 1985 and 1986, and she seems confident of her form because she's gone straight into the lead, and now moving into about fifth place behind her is her teammate Elana Meyer, the Olympic silver medalist at 10,000 metres. Fascinating race building up here, Tim.
Very much so, and the South African ingredient, of course, making it all the more intriguing. And certainly the women's race is where the South Africans have got their strength through Pieterse and Elana Meyer. Meyer came third in the cross-challenge race at Durham in northeast England earlier on in the winter. Didn't look that impressive, actually. She was beaten by Tulu, the Olympic 10,000 metre champion, and a young Briton, Paula Radcliffe. Tulu is in this race, although we do understand she's been struggling with a knee injury.
So it's Pieterse leading. Then number 102 is Marina Denboba. Also just going through there in the picture in the green was Catherina McKiernan, the IAAF Cross Challenge Series leader. There's Meyer, then Denboba, and then Paula Radcliffe of Britain just tucking in. That's number 134 behind. Lynn Jennings in the dark glasses on the outside, and just behind her Albertina Dias of Portugal, who's got a fine record, as has Jennings, in this race in recent years. So it's Pieterse, Denboba, Meyer, McKiernan, and then Jennings on the outside.
Also up there at this stage is Farida Fatès of France, and you can see Dias of Portugal and Paula Radcliffe of Britain. So a far more representative international field, truly international field at the front of this race at this stage. But Meyer going to the front now and decided it's a bit too slow maybe. The Africans, or South Africans I should say, in first and second.
Yes, indeed, the former champion, Zola Bud, now Pieterse, and Elana Meyer, who used to run with her but used to get well beaten, has now come through in her own right with that little dipping style there, that little head dip, Tim, a slightly strange style.
It is. I've seen other athletes do it in the past. It's something they're not aware of doing at the time. They look as though they're checking down at their feet, but it's a totally involuntary thing, and if anything, it shows that their neck and head is very, very relaxed. It's probably a good thing.
So Meyer, then Denboba of Ethiopia, who's been consistently reasonably well placed in this race in recent years, 18th in 1991 and 20th in 1992, but certainly running better than that. Then Pieterse, then Jennings, then McKiernan, then Dias, as we look back along the field, not stretched out so much as the juniors, and indeed one would expect that, of course, at senior level, but some Kenyans also pretty prominent. Lydia Cherame, number 231, was in shot just now, and also Jane Goto.
Esther Kiplagat, I also see up there in about 8th or 9th place. Kiplagat has placed very highly in the Cross Challenge Series throughout the winter, and it'll be interesting to see just how the athletes who have participated fully in the Cross Challenge Series throughout the winter months compare with those who have stood back and watched what's going on but got on with their training, prepared specifically for this race. Certainly Elana Meyer and Zola Pieterse have hardly participated in the Cross Challenge at all, and at the moment they're breaking away.
And Meyer, of course, has plenty of speed in her legs because she recently ran a 4 minutes 9 second 1500 metres, whereas, of course, McKiernan of Ireland, who won the Cross Challenge Series, or was leading the Cross Challenge Series, in third place there at the moment, has nothing like that speed. But again, as you say, Tim, she's well and truly prepared for cross country. But look at this, Meyer is really stretching away a bit at the moment, using that speed to good effect, though it's still fairly early stages in the race. McKiernan and Pieterse, then Dias just tucked in behind them, and Denboba beginning to go back a little bit with Paula Radcliffe alongside her.
I'm somewhat surprised to see Meyer doing this so early. There's been a lot of talk about how competitive this women's race will be. Now, if she wants to employ this tactic, she's got to be head and shoulders better than the rest, above the rest. And really, I don't think she is. She's got so much speed in her legs at the moment. I wonder if she's letting them run away with her and rule what she's doing, rather than letting her head do the ruling.
Notice the way that some of the runners find the little gaps in that hedge there, rather than attempting to jump over it.
Certainly Meyer looking as though she's working hard there. The rest of the field just wondering whether she's going to come back. When an athlete does this, they put in a break in the middle of the race. There's nothing you can do. You've just got to sit back and hope that they come back. Occasionally, of course, and if it's usually an African or a Kenyan, they won't come back. But I know that the Irish girl there in second place, McKiernan, will be waiting for Meyer to ease off from this surge.
Meyer just giving a little look back over her shoulder as she went round that bend. Stretching out now, McKiernan in second place. And then Dias in third, and they're really opening up a bit of a gap now. Fatès in fourth place there. But McKiernan holding on. The gap is not increasing, though certainly after Dias there's then quite a big gap back to fourth place.
Well, Meyer's broken up that lead bunch within the space of 2 or 3 minutes. She really has put the hammer down. The rest of them reduced to single file running. McKiernan in second, Dias in third. They're the only ones that have really been able to respond to this surge. They've gone with Meyer, and indeed, I say gone with her. They're actually closing up on her now, and Meyer looking very much as though she's misjudged things. She looks under pressure to me there. She hasn't maintained that acceleration. Fighters there for France back in fourth place, but they're some way back now. Dias is still trying to get in touch with this lead pair. Meyer, has she shot her bolt?
Yes, and just coming up, we've got Hellen Kimaiyo of Kenya, and Zola Pieterse also up there again. She's now in sixth place. Well, tucked in behind Meyer, McKiernan and Dias, who finished in exactly those placings in this race last year. McKiernan was second, Dias third on that occasion. Lynn Jennings was, of course, then the winner, and Jennings is running well. She's now up into, seventh place. So those three, they're not going away anymore, I don't think. Then we've got fighters, then the two Kenyans, that's Cheremay and I think Kiplagat, the other one. And then we've got Lynn Jennings, I think it is, just behind. Yes. Oh, and Liz McColgan also coming into the picture now, coming up on Jennings' shoulder in eighth place.
Good run by McColgan. She's worked very hard to get up to that position. She started slowly, the world 10,000 metres champion. And we understand now that Duratu Tulu, the Olympic 10,000 metres champion, has dropped out with that injury, so we won't see her at all now. But up front, it's looking very physical there as McKiernan and Dias clash going over that rise. Meyer stumbling into the back of McKiernan.
Meyer particularly is going all over the place, isn't she? Obviously trying to find the best footing. Some parts of the course, obviously the footing is not quite so good as others, but she's really rocking around, whereas Dias looks much the most fluid of those three.
Fluid and balanced, yes. Dias looks very under control. Meyer is always like this. Her arms tend to be thrown around the place, and with that head rolling around, it doesn't give the impression of fluency. But Dias is quite a well-muscled girl up top, and looks well in control at this stage. McKiernan bouncing along beside her, always runs just this way. Normally sprints away at the finish, as we've seen her do on several occasions in the Cross Challenge Series. But this is a very different type of race. The pace has been much, much faster than she's used to.
McKiernan, of course, the only one of these leading competitors who hasn't really got any sort of track pedigree, but I'm sure that must only be a matter of time, because on this sort of ability she ought to be able to run, I would have thought, a really good 10,000.
Yes, McKiernan has been running 3,000s for the last couple of years, hasn't really made an impression, and has acknowledged that this last winter, and has actually stated that this coming year she's going to be running 10,000s on the track. And as you say, Peter, I think that is where we'll really see her make a mark.
But Dias now takes the lead, and she's really got a very fine, consistent record in this race. She was second back in 1990, sixth in 91, and third last year. McKiernan, of course, second last year, really came up, and McKiernan's the youngest of the group at 23, Dias 29. There's Jennings, though, running well. Fatès, then McColgan. So there's plenty of running in that group behind, but these first three do seem to be well away, and I would have thought that the winner is going to come from these three at this stage of the race. But now Dias stretching it away, and then there's the gap beginning to struggle out. Paula Radcliffe, one of the early leaders, dropping back a little bit there.
Well, Dias looking still in control here. very, very composed. This is surprising. She's only beaten McKiernan once. That was right at the beginning of the winter when McKiernan apparently had a cold at Bolbec in France, the very first cross-challenge race of the season. But Dias in the driving seat here. Meyer looks as though she really has given her all. The rest of the field closing up. Jennings there leading the fight for fourth place. And I think that battle is gradually bringing them back into touch with these three.
So Dias and McKiernan, and Meyer seems to be dropping off the pace that these first two are setting as they run through the gap. Lynn Jennings, what an amazing race she's running for someone who had an appendix operation so recently. Then Fatès, then Pieterse and McColgan together, and then the leading Kenyan, Pauline Konga. Dias on the left, McKiernan on the right. Both have good sprint finishes.
Well, the last time a Portuguese took the World Cross Country title, it was Carlos Lopez in front of his home fans in 1985. And I wonder if Dias here is going to repeat a Portuguese victory for them. Looking still in control. Meyer really struggling now, and I wouldn't be surprised if she starts looking over her shoulder at her pursuers. McKiernan really determinedly hanging on to the Portuguese heels there, but it's unusual for that gap to have developed like that and for it to be closed at this stage of the race.
Dias really looking so good, as we've commented on. She has been looking marvellous right through the race, but McKiernan is undoubtedly a fighter. Meyer doing her best to stay in contention, still quite a gap back to Lynn Jennings, and then it's Fatès, and then Pieterse and McColgan, and then we have some more of the Kenyan challengers just behind them. Fascinating finish here, but certainly Dias looks really good here. McKiernan holding on, opening up this gap to Meyer, who really now is an isolated third.
Yes, not a good situation for Meyer to be in. I think she actually entered oxygen debt in the middle of the race, though. When she put in that surge, she really overextended herself, and from that point on she's been struggling like mad to hold this pace. Dias, well, she's judged things to perfection. Coming down this rise now, looks to me like she's pulling away from McKiernan, and good tactics by Dias. McKiernan does have a fast finish, and she's dragging out the sting from McKiernan and trying to make it a long run for home. They do know each other so well, of course, and Dias here using that knowledge to beat the Irish girl by the looks of things. Interesting, this situation now rising from the cross-challenge series. Going into it, McKiernan was leading Dias by 9 points. If Dias wins and McKiernan is second, then Dias can only make up 6 points of that gap. So indeed, McKiernan would go on to win the overall title by 3 points.
And it's certainly looking as if Dias is on the way to victory. She's already got a second and a third place in previous World Cross Country Championships, and McKiernan, unless she can do something very special in these last few metres, is going to have to settle for second for the second successive year. Meyer, though, definitely seems to be fading, and the rest are catching her. Here's Lynn Jennings and Zola Pieterse resurgent as well, as we switch back to see this smooth style of Albertina Dias coming home, seemingly unchallengeable to a most popular local Portuguese victory. There is McKiernan, and there you can see just at the top the feet of Meyer, who is rapidly being caught, and she may well lose out on third place, having been prominent for so long in this race. There's Lynn Jennings just behind her, and Jennings has obviously got Meyer well in her sights. But here too comes Zola Pieterse, the other South African who was doing so well early in the race, and she looks as if she too is going to take her teammate. Meyer, Tim, I don't think he's got any answer to this.
No, paying the penalty here for that misjudgment early in the race. Pieterse goes straight past her as Jennings wants to tuck in behind. Jennings, of course, has won all her 3 titles with a sprint finish. Well, Dias has made sure here that there's no need for a sprint finish today. Great running by this very small Portuguese woman at the age of 27. Just reward for perseverance in the World Cross Country Championships. This McKiernan looks safe in second, but a battle royal going on back there for third.
Well, that's it. I think that's where the interesting race is now, because Dias is really stretching her way to come through the title. There's McKiernan, who seems untroubled, and she's certainly running fast enough to hold on to that second place. A real good, tough cross-country runner there. And Albertina Dias, who has yet perhaps to add the track success to her cross-country form. That no doubt will come. She was 10th in the Olympics. She's capable of doing better, and she really is running pretty fast there as we look back down the race to the leading Spaniard, Vaquero, who's in around 15th place at the moment. And here is Dias now, looks confidently over her shoulder, sees that she's got no challenge at all. She's coming through with this long finishing straight to take the title. She'll be absolutely delighted at that. As I said, a second and a third already, and now champion. Albertina Dias of Portugal, the joy on her face for sure, and very close indeed for second place. McKiernan does hold on, the fast finishing Lynn Jennings in fourth, then Zola Pieterse. And Liz McColgan just sneaks past. Meyer on the line with Pauline, Konga and Farida Fatès coming in behind. Albertina Dias going back to congratulate McKiernan just behind her in the tunnel.
Well, that'll be a very, very popular win, as you say, Peter. Dias is a cross-country specialist. Her potential on the track remains to be realised, and I don't think she can believe that herself. 27 years old, the greatest race of her life. She's just run. McKiernan, well, second for the second year running. She must be disappointed with that. She was fated as one of the favourites for this event. Dias was certainly ignored by the media. And a great run there, I think, by Jennings in third place, who not only has had surgery this year earlier on, but hasn't been in great form in recent weeks. She took an indoor bronze medal at the World Indoor Championships over 3,000 metres, but I never expected Lynn Jennings to take a medal.
Well, there's confirmation of the result. Albertina Dias, the champion, Catherina McKiernan in second place, Lynn Jennings in third.
Well, Dias there being mobbed by the media. Surprises galore in that event, although no surprises in the team result. Kenya yet again on top with 52 points. The Japanese having a very good championship so far. Silver medals for them with 93. France just behind in third place. And the South Africans, thanks to Meyer and Pieterse, who had a brilliant run there in fourth place, taking the fourth place positions in the team.
So there's the popular winner, Albertina Dias of Portugal, receiving her gold medal. Wind's got up a bit now, more than was apparent during the race itself. But, the Basque beret being put on, of course, as appropriate.
Traditional piece of Basque clothing, that, and very nice indeed, although I'm not sure that they're usually as big as that. I think they're made that size to fit on all the embroidery.